That was a background report on effective management skills. And to further discuss the topic with us in the studio, we have Reverend Engineer Kingsley Chukwemeka Adiola. He is a consultant with Infotech. You're welcome to Good Morning Abuja.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for
to be
coming
here.
around.
Yeah, so we're talking about goal setting and how you're able to achieve. When you begin the year, I want to begin with that. When you begin the year, you hear people say, I have a goal to set. I want to achieve this before the. I'm sure you had one too.
Every
So
year.
every year.
First January.
Okay, so how are you able to achieve those goals? At least before a particular time, how are you able to set goals, set tasks, and achieve them?
Okay, thank you. First of all, it's important to understand goal setting, time management, effectiveness, and then setting priorities right. Because it's like now a basic routine,
Mm.
not just for Africans, but humans in general, trying to understand the reason why I should set goals and try to achieve them.
Mm.
So goal setting is basically about planning, organizing,
Mm.
and setting priorities. Why time management has to do with the bit by bit skill that you apply on a daily basis in trying to meet the vision or the objective which you've set for yourself. In this regard, goals.
Mm.
Okay, so goal setting, time management, the work together.
Mm.
This is what I plan for the year.
Okay.
How I go about it, implementation, trying to meet it
Mm.
is something on the other side of the divide.
Mm.
So it's most definitely an important aspect of our lives where every year you try to set new goals.
Mhm.
It's not about the year itself.
Okay.
It should be about milestones,
Okay.
you know. So because you see people, you set goals for yourself, like December period is coming again.
Mm.
Some people have already set goals, and once it's 31st December,
Mm.
they squash off all those ideas
Okay.
and you start
Start
again.
again.
So what is now the essence of starting
Setting
afresh
goals. Okay.
when you have goals which you have set even before the end of the year?
Mm.
So it's more about trying to organize, strategize, overcome challenges, and then look at, of all the goals I have set, outlined, which ones did I prioritize?
Mm.
Which ones did I achieve? Which ones were unmet? And then how do I reevaluate those ones that I did not meet in terms of feedback mechanisms?
Mm.
So goal setting is not just about beginning of the year.
Okay.
It's more about short-term and long-term goals, short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals.
Mhm.
How am I able to harness
Yeah.
them
Oh, okay.
together?
Okay.
So I think that's the starting point for us.
Okay, so I'm curious. I want to know, you're an engineer.
Yes, I am.
So do you have a personal experience of people not keeping to time? What led you into this? Because if you're an infotech personnel, what has time management got to do with your study? Do you have an experience of people
Experience,
not
maybe
keeping
that
to time? Maybe you always go
decide
to
to
places and okay, we believe in African time,
time.
general African time.
Exactly.
So what led you? What pushed you into this?
Well, let's take Nigeria.
Mhm.
Nigeria is a very typical example
Mm.
where you have a program for 9 or 10, let's say 9.
Mhm.
Okay.
And even as at 9, the organizer of the event is still not there. So
Okay.
the guest
Organizer.
comes in
Mhm.
to meet the organizer of the program, still strategizing how best to run the program.
Mm.
Why does this happen? So it doesn't happen on the day. These are schedules that were unmet even days before that day.
Mm.
So it is most expected that as people, we should have what we call, I do call it the 4 Ds.
Okay.
There are things you will do, there are things you have to delay, there are things you have to delegate,
Mm.
and there are those you have to delete.
Okay.
Yes,
For
For
these.
these
yes, the four
For
things you have
these.
Ds.
to
Mm?
do,
There are things you have to do.
Things you
things you
have
have
to
to delay,
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 things you
things you
have to
have to
delegate,
delegate,
delegate, and
and
things you
things you
have
have
to
to
delete.
to delete.
delete.
Wow.
For
Yes,
these.
the four Ds.
Okay.
But in all this, there's what we call the SMART objective.
Mhm.
For every goal that you set, there's what we call SMART. So that goal setting technique has the principle is it follows a process of SMART. That is, it must be specific,
Mhm.
it must be measurable, it must be achievable or attainable, it must be realistic, and then it must be time bound. So that time bound
Mm.
is what brings goal setting and time management together. So you discover that a lot of people, both in the private sector and the public sector, that time bound
Mhm.
is that lapse, that gap is what is affecting a lot of us.
Mm.
So you wake up in the morning, the first thing you ask yourself, what's my to-do list?
Mm.
So you have to you ask yourself, what have I planned to do for today? It's Friday. So I know how I have to be here early.
Mm.
So on Thursday, I have to tell myself I plan.
Mm.
Other schedules I have need to be completed properly,
Mm.
and then we get to the business of the day.
Okay.
So it's very important. Wherever you have a program for 9, as early as 7, you're already planning for that program.
Okay. In fact, if possible, you should be out of the house by 7.
Yes. So if
Okay.
it's a place of like 10, 15 minutes,
Okay.
you don't wait, oh, it's just 5, 10 minutes. No,
Mm.
you have to go there early.
Mm.
You have to create that consciousness of preparedness
Okay.
early in the mind.
Okay.
So goal setting, time management,
Mm.
the objective you must have a focus,
Mm.
you must have a measurable ideology in mind.
Okay.
Okay, this is what I want to set out to do,
Mm.
and it must be realistic.
Okay.
You just don't set goals, a goal of like, this is something that happens in 2 years' time.
Mm.
You start now to prepare
Mm.
early
Mm.
and you work towards that 2 years, or you work towards the 1 year,
Mm.
or you work towards the quarter,
Mm.
or you work towards the week to see that you follow up.
Okay.
And then that time bound that we're talking about here is there's what we call deliverables, meeting deliverables.
Mm.
So every day you work towards, every day is a step towards your goal.
Mm.
Every day you reevaluate. What have the priority I set for myself today, was I able to achieve it? Why wasn't I able to achieve?
Mm.
Was there a challenge on the way? Something hindered me from getting to that. So you ask yourself these questions. It's like you're talking to somebody,
Mhm.
but in the meantime, you're not talking to anyone.
Actually.
You're looking at yourself
Mm.
and asking yourself, why was I not able to meet this?
Okay.
And if there are those you met, you just stick it in your checklist.
Mm.
So you must have a checklist.
Okay.
So, but how often are we supposed to have a checklist?
Mm.
Like she mentioned earlier that most people do it every
Every
year
year,
at the beginning
like.
of the year.
Mm.
But if you look at it, most of them don't even achieve anything even at the end of the year. So how often are we supposed to, or when are we supposed to? Okay, say
Have
okay,
a
let me
checklist.
write a checklist. January, this is what I want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
By March, this is what I
March.
want to achieve. So is it supposed to be like a monthly thing, or weekly thing, or daily thing?
Mm.
Okay. Now it depends on the individual.
Mhm.
For some, like for myself, it's a daily thing.
Mm.
I have goals that I've set, quarterly goals, okay? Milestones I want to achieve every quarter, biannually,
Okay.
yearly, 2 years' time.
Mm.
These are things we've set.
So it's a matter
But
of long term
And
we
short
have
term.
and
short
short
term,
term.
And
medium
even
term, and long
and
term.
even daily, I'm sure.
And daily, yes, on a daily basis, there are
Because
things.
I was going to ask, like, being a worker, like both civil servant, any worker, no,
Yeah.
it's a daily target for you to be at your workplace
Yes.
early on time. So how are you able to act? Because sometimes maybe you might begin well, at the end of the day, you see some things you cannot just do without. You see somebody coming at 8, 8:30, 9, that you're supposed to be there like 7, and you'll be like, okay, what actually delayed me? As in, what's the regular thing that is making you come late? Maybe you were not like that before. At the end of the day, it's either traffic, one thing or the other. So how are you able to manage that particular one?
Yeah. For some, I would say some have made it habitual.
Mm.
Whether
Okay.
you like it or not,
Mm.
they would always come late.
Okay.
and
Motivation.
it's quite unfortunate, but we can make better version of ourselves.
Okay.
And that's why I think we're having part of this conversation.
Mm.
How do we become better
Better.
persons with time and setting of our goals?
Mm.
So it's vital for us to understand those key areas that we need to prioritize,
Mm.
because you arrange based on order of priority. Okay. So when you have that priority, you tell yourself, at 7, I think I have to be here. I have to be, I have a meeting for 7.
Mm.
So before 7, I'm out of the house already. And while planning for 7 a.m. program, you already know that at 9, you have another program.
Mm.
But if the 7 a.m. program is going to crash into the 9, you have to delay a bit. You have to
Okay.
give pre-information. I think I'll be a bit late, say by 10 minutes,
Okay.
by 15.
Mm.
But many don't do that. You discover that that program laps into the other one, and it affects the
Affects the
other
other
one.
one.
So when we don't start properly, ending the ending aspect of it
Be
becomes even more
affected.
better.
Mm.
Yeah.
So coming to you now, have there been a time where you set time? Okay, I'm supposed to be here,
And you're
and
unable to achieve
you are
it.
not able to achieve it. What were the lessons learned, and how were you able to go about it?
Yes. I had a program. I was running a program in Canada, and it's virtual, so it's a degree program. And I asked myself, every semester, the semester is such that you set your goals every day. You must study every day.
Mm.
So you must do something that day
Okay.
which you cannot delay.
Okay.
So before I sleep, after every activity, I discovered one day I just slept.
Mm. Without
And
doing
when I
anything.
woke up,
Time had gone.
the time had gone. It was already midnight.
Wow.
What?
So I was like, could this happen?
Hmm.
That
We
is
are
to tell
human.
you we are humans.
Yeah.
Okay, so we cannot take away the factor of our human nature.
Mm.
But the truth remains, the little we can to get to where we want to,
Mm.
we have to give it a push.
Okay.
And that push is what takes us from doing nothing to
And
getting
getting
something
something.
done.
Oh, wow.
And it's an encouragement.
Okay.
Wow.
We really learned a lot. Like
I
you should
have,
go on, but at least.
honestly, especially for those who, no matter what, they must always come late.
Yeah.
It has been very
Mm.
interesting speaking with you. Thank you so much for coming around on the program. Gladys, if you're fond of going late to places,
No, no, no.
please,
I'm time
the seats.
conscious. I'm not the African time person.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I'll watch out for you. See, I'm watching you from today
No
on.
problem.
Well, the program is still Good Morning Abuja.